I get it.
Mbijan raganyadi.
Albaka.
Mbaka important.
Yo, nga transfer la sto.
Ya transfer la sto.
Ha, code nyingi.
Okay. Kosa. Nsila ID soto.
Ah, sa soto. Sorry. I get it.
Mbijan bro.
Albaka.
Mbaka.
Bara alla service o tariya.
Ah,
mbare mo ki janna nun kunu bara tariya.
Janno mi yona forest de bureau. Gambia tonkon na no mbari ya bere. Birim koyna fo kato.
Bari si kodo kino kato ni fo bolong blabe to.
56 branches mola soto Gambia jang.
Ha?
Gambia kono ani Gambia bantala bankol. Nka kono kiya bere. Kodo sifa fo falindiro fo nyaadi lafta memmen na kodi to poto nin kodi maraw. Janno number 1 di nyonta. Andum fana nata anoda enterprise sotale. Wala nyindi ko domorol fana kol fana be firale de dadi ma ni domorol ni fana beteat. Gambia dawda yalo ngam fa kendol sotale je.
Wo moyo diat.
Apelenta
ni wo ka ni lafta nyelen kendol e bina.
Yalo bu kanyi la ko la baraka ba.
Yalo ndel chosano lo.
Abaraka.
Of owning your dream homes, EJ Investment is here for you. Secure our quality bungalows with 2, 3 or 4 bedrooms, or our story buildings 3 or 4 to 5 bedrooms at very affordable prices with flexible payment plans at our Sanyang Seaview Estate, where you can enjoy the cool breeze with modern infrastructure such as tar roads, covered drainage system, modern electrification with street lights, gated entrance with security posts, and social amenities such as gas station, shopping mall, medical clinic, park, schools, children daycare, and a lot more. Our dedicated team of professionals will keep the estate clean at all times, provide security and patrol team within the estate premises, install latest technologies such as CCTV, Wi-Fi, home network installation, solar panel, and power backup system. Also, check out for our additional home facilities and interior design service such as premium tiling, wall plaster, home landscape, fingerprint home lock, and a lot more. Visit our office at Senegambia Kololi Highway and get a free site visit tour, or contact us on 4464-838. WhatsApp us.
Welcome back to the brunch on Fatou Live. We thank Lamin Queen Jammeh, the spokesperson for the National People's Party, who had to leave us after that unexpected interruption of power. We thank Nawek too for that. Okay, still in the program, we take you to the saga of the Supreme Court ruling which declares it unconstitutional for National Assembly members to create a budget for them in terms of a law scheme. So we will discuss the nitty-gritties of that court decision, and in fact the case in proper, when we talk to the people, or one of the people who actually took the matter to the Supreme Court. The 3 years Jotna people now have no case to answer, so to speak, because the state have withdrawn charges against them when the government announced it believes that it is necessary for reconciliation as we move on to election in December. We will discuss all this with the people actually who are really insiders in this whole matter. So I welcome Sait Matty Jaw, lecturer of political science at the University of the Gambia, a member of Gambia Participates, which was among the SEOs who took the matter to court. And Hajis Suwaneh, some people call him Suwaneh, some say Suwaneh. He will tell us how he feels about that topic, as well as now that he doesn't have any need to go to court to answer charges of unlawful assembly or arson. How you feel about that? So let's begin with this matter. The National Assembly members, or at least some of them, if not majority of them, were disappointed that the Supreme Court said they cannot access that much talk about loan that they believe they will be able to have. Each of them might go home with 1 million. Well, it depends on how much you want, if the loan has been really allowed to go. The Supreme Court said no, it is not possible for them to create such a budget. Now, among the people, or the group of people who took the matter to court is Gambia Participates, like I said, and Sait Matty Jaw is part of it. Sait Matty, what we would like to know is exactly why do you people decide to go to the Supreme Court to seek an order to make this unconstitutional when the National Assembly members perfectly think that it is within their powers, to create a loan that they are going to pay? In any case, they are not stealing, they are not begging. Yeah. Why do you think it was wrong?
Yeah, so to start with, I am from the Center for Research and Policy Development. One of the, we and Gambia participated.
Oh, okay, that's right.
They were our partners. And then Activist Gambia. Yeah, supported the motion. But then, you remember around that time, that the decision was being made at the National Assembly to create a new budget line. Following when they decided to cut here and there and then say, okay, we can use this money to create a new budget line for our own initiative, which was a loan scheme for the members and staff of the members.
Hold on, take us back. Do you want to say that the parliamentarians conceived this idea after cutting budgets from?
Of course,
from
if you follow the discussions.
They believe that they have now cut enough money for them to be able to create a loan scheme for them.
That
was their motive.
If you follow the discussions, you will think like that. You will see that narrative. But then, of course, this was coming after, when so many decisions have been taken by the National Assembly, including rejecting the draft constitution, which people wanted, and so people were already, frustrated with the National Assembly. I can say to a certain extent, and especially when, now they've decided to pass a motion to give themselves loan. I mean, this did not go well with the people, and then we saw the reaction, whether it was on radio, whether it was on social media, everywhere people were saying no, no, no. And for us as civil society organization, we have been part of this process for quite some time now, and then learning from our past experiences, where instead things that we could challenge in court, like for instance the appropriation bill that was introduced, and then we felt it wasn't done properly. So when this thing came up, I said, well, this thing needs to stop. So we had a conversation among ourselves and say, what can we do? And then we consulted, because the Gambia Bar Association now is a very integral part into the Gambia Civil Society Organization. So we consulted with Saliu and others and say, is there something that we can do? Of course, the most available idea was to go to the Supreme Court for interpretation, and so we decided to go to the Supreme Court. And at some point I even stopped discussing the issue, because while people were saying it is good, it is bad, it is good, it is bad, we say the best place to tell us whether it is constitutional or unconstitutional is the Supreme Court. Of course, there were so many moral arguments, whether they should have the right, they should not have the right, or whether the incentives should have been for the National Assembly members, it's their welfare and all those things. For me, the issue of welfare, whether you are working in the police, in the security, I believe people that are working for the state must also be, given enough so that they can do their work, but also paid adequately so that they can be able to do their work. But of course, my biggest challenge for me was that we are absorbing power that we do not have, and we believe that the power belongs to the president. So for me, my interest was basically whether the law was, whether it was unconstitutional or whether it was constitutional. And then our partners like Gambia Participate, they are more focused on the issue of accountability and following the money and ensuring the moral questions. The moral questions, both the legal as well, ensuring that the monies that were spent could have been used in building, boreholes, in water, providing water to the communities and all that. So it is this different interest with civil society and all those things. We said, okay, this time it is time to walk the talk.
So you went to court? We
went to court.
You were exactly asking the court to do what?
So we basically asked the court, first we wanted them to, because then we did not know, well, we wanted them first to grant an injunction to stop the Minister of Finance and some of the other people and even the clerk from disbursing the money to the members. But of course, initially the court rejected that, saying we cannot hold the government from doing their job, which of course in the ruling they've also highlighted that. Then the second was to interpret whether this decision that was taken through a motion was in line with the constitution or not, and so which was the main case, because of course we did not agree with the loan scheme, but of course we know that the lawmakers also have a right to create laws, but then we wanted to know specifically, given the law section 151 and I think and section 155, 152, 155 for the court to look at that, and including the Public Finance Act, which was looking at section 47 of the Public Finance Act. So for us, we just wanted the court to interpret to see whether this was constitutional or unconstitutional, and then after that, whatever declaration the court wanted to make on that, they did, and that's why when you look at the ruling, I feel that the ruling is very balanced. It did not
it didn't give you all what you want.
Well, it gave us the basic of what we wanted,
the most important.
The most important.
That stopped the millions from going to the
but then yes, and for me it was more on the legal procedure and all those things that they decided to take, because of course for me I believe in separation of powers. What the National Assembly owns and should do, they should do it. What the executive should do, they should do it. What the judiciary, civil society, anybody, what you want to do, and you have to do that. For me, I really, anything that we are doing, if the process is not right, then the outcome for me, I don't think it is right. The process must be right.
For you, it could have been loans, could have been something else.
Yeah,
but the fact that there was a check and balance, that you are fine
yes,
with that.
for us, we are fine with that. And so if you look at the ruling also, and then the moral issue, and still people continue to discuss on this moral, that of course it is the time of COVID, they are not thinking about us and all that. Yeah. But the law is not preventing them from creating that, because they have, but then they have to follow the procedure. Yeah. But then if the people do not want that, the people can still continue to do the discussion. But for us, we have clearly contributed to understanding what the National Assembly can do and cannot do.
Good. Now, some of them have reacted. I mean, let me ask you first. Before you went to court, the feeling you got there, or most people got that, the majority of the parliamentarians were in for this loan, isn't it? Is that true?
Well, we followed the debate. We know that some were and some were not.
But how much percentage do you think were?
And if you remember, the motion was first passed, and then the second day, I think there was a decision. I don't know whether it was passed by Honorable Halifa or somebody to rescind their decision. Yeah. But of course, within that, some decided to, because it already, the minute it was passed, the controversy started. So I think there was some, even the number that voted isn't, I think, reduced, but we need to be checked on that to ensure that I'm not speaking out of the facts. Yeah. But then we know that there were people that supported and people that did not support. Yeah. So at that, it shows that it was not even as much, because they needed simple majority to pass it. Yeah. But of course, the number of people that opposed it were also significant. So at least it created some divisions among, even within the members, but of course outside the public. And the public message was, well, we don't want this.
Most of them who reacted said, okay, much as they agree with the Supreme Court's decision, they believe that it is, like you said, it is very fine for democracy, but they still believe that the decision was wrong, because they too are human beings. They're not going to steal these monies. The monies will be accounted for. It's going to be paid, if not by them before they leave, at least their graduate or whatever you call it would go in to pay for it. So they are not, in their view, breaking any law.
Well, the Supreme Court agree, I think in the ruling, agreed to a large extent that these monies were going to be loans, not things that they were going to be given for free. Exactly. And I think that kind of, to a large extent, vindicated them. But we're not saying that. We're saying like the procedure that you follow. You feel like you can make law. You say, we are lawmakers, we make law. But your power is derived from the Constitution. And the Constitution directly, has directed the ways and through which certain decisions should be made, especially when it comes to the budget issue. And then the focus is not, I see people talking about, is this kind of, tie in the hand of the parliament. Our focus was that loan scheme and then the manner in which it came about. And so we wanted the Supreme Court to interpret that. And if it found, if they found it to be in contravention of the Constitution, to declare it unconstitutional. So that part was done. But then that's why we are saying that still, if the National Assembly decide to say, okay, follow the procedures and then do that, they can access that. Yeah. But of course, that will also be left to the public. That has set them whether they want that or not. But then at least for the procedural aspect, we use they say use one stone to hit.
In other words, what you people have achieved or managed to achieve is that you stop them from usurping powers that doesn't belong to them. But
and then at the same time, prevent them from accessing that loan.
Accessing that money. So you kill two birds with the same stone. Haji Suwaneh, you followed a big political activist and a member of the 3 years journey. You followed that before we come to 3 years journey. You followed that debate. Which side of the debate are you? Are you celebrating that the parliamentarians didn't get that? Powers to access that loans, or you're disappointed that the court's decision was wrong?
Yeah, thank you, Lamin, and then thank you, my own boss, the lecturer. Anyway, and congratulations to Gambia Participate and then Center for Research and Policy Making, I think so. Anyway, I'm not disappointed with the Supreme Court's decision to make sure that the Gambia, we started observing good governance and then to do things in accordance with our own laws. So this loan, since inception, I was not in support of it because in Gambia, currently we have so many issues that are going on. We should focus on and then try to develop. As far as National Assembly is concerned, I think they have the bigger responsibility today to hold this government accountable. So I think if they want to do things like this, taking the loan, I think for me, it is not bad. But anyway, they should have taken the proper procedure to ensure that they have worked with the cabinet or the appropriate ministry that is in charge of these financial issues, so that they will be given a loan or being created a scheme that definitely they can also use it in their own developmental interests. But to take those powers, using them by themselves, who should be holding government accountable, scrutinize government's budgets, and then do their oversight functions, I think for me it will bring some kind of weaknesses as far as
conflict of
interest will come there, because a person cannot hold himself accountable. So if you want to scrutinize somebody, it's possible, but to scrutinize yourself, I don't think that is going to be something for me. I'll be supporting. So anyway, I congratulate them once for seeing that definitely the Gambia, we should stand up and then try to defend our country, so that definitely we need something that's supposed to be done better than the way we think it's supposed to be done.
I thought they were motivated by this by the bunker theory that, look, I cannot be as the proverbial security guards to paradise. I cannot be here when air conditioning and everything is blowing and I keep sweating here. So they oversee millions and billions of dollars and they feel that they should have something.
Maybe for me, I think, for me, in my opinion, there is a kind of lack of trust between the parliament and then the executive. Because if there is a trust there, a working relationship that they feel that they need this loan, seriously, they should have consulted the executive and then put their aims and ambitions before the executive, so that the executive will create something like this, a kind of this. Wouldn't have created this lot of critics or chaos as far as the public reactions are concerned.
Well, according to, is that correct, Jao? They still have room to access money in some way.
I mean, yeah. I mean, and I think there was even the advice that the Minister of Finance, you know, if you remember the discussion, if you follow, he said, well, he's not comfortable with that way, but they can, you know, bring this as part of the supplementary bill, perhaps, as part of a supplementary bill and all those things. But of course, now for me, the biggest aspect of the ruling is it really shows that you know, there is checks and balances in this country, that there is separation of powers, that the budgetary process, the executive is given that role to present it, but the approval or disapproval lies in the hands of the National Assembly. But then they cannot create their own line, and then I think, of course, if you look at it, what we are trying to avoid is that the National Assembly or even members can easily come and say, oh, we want this, we want that, and then, I mean, who's going to control the money? I mean, everybody can come and demand and then pick, you know. So unless there needs to be that safeguard, well, who can do this and who can do that? The executive can create the budget, but they know how they have no right to approve their own budget. So that is given to somebody.
I hope the judiciary have really not put themselves in trouble. The parliamentarians were angry with them when their budgets come before them.
Well, of course, it's the job of the like the judiciary budget. I think it goes from the judiciary. The executive doesn't have any hand in that. It goes to parliament. It is parliament's duty.
Now that they have incurred the wrath of the parliamentarians by denying them the millions.
I think they will accept that now. I think they accept that. They know, like, they're the brothers.
I know. They know. Okay, let's move on to. Okay, this is parliament. This was the loan thing. Many people have started at the beginning asking, would you be bold enough to take other matters other than this, you know, to court for the same reasons? Even involve the executive, perhaps.
As long as we are a civil society organization, we have committed ourselves to ensuring that this country transform into a democratic society. And part of democracy is to ensure that there are enough checks and balances. People do their work, whether it's the executive, even the judiciary. If they do things that we feel, I mean, I don't know whether we have the power to do that. We need to seek. But anybody. I mean, even us, that's why I keep saying that even us, civil society needs to be held accountable. In this country, we need to hold everybody accountable to ensure that things go in the right way. So we are not here to please anyone. So we will do our work. We expect people to do their work, and that should be the way. So this generation is moving from this the other negative side of the masla, and then to issues that affect our bread and butter, because these issues are all about life and death, as Matty Jaw would always say. I mean, taking monies and people are not happy, the kind of distrust it will generate among the people and parliament. People need to trust their institution, people need to trust their government. So if we find ways of challenging certain decisions which we feel are not in line with the general interest of the public, then of course we will try to see how best we can go to court. And I think everybody now accepts and realize that the courts are very effective tool, and and this is lawfare, and using the law for social transformation. And I think that's the next step, and we are learning from that, and we'll continue to do that. And it doesn't matter what government, what institution, or whoever it is there, if we feel like you have not done what you're supposed to do, and we feel that there is something that we can get, whether we win or lose, we'll go to court, and then the court will interpret. If the court say it's fine, we say it's fine. If the court say otherwise, I mean, you have to do what the court says.
And you said there's a coalition of
civil society.
like yours, Gambia Participation, and at Vista. How did they react to this too?
I mean, for Gambia Participation and even activists, I think they, like us, all of us, we were very excited, and we finally found. Well, some people will say Golo Amna Almet, but I don't think this is it. But then the issue is, like, we were all happy that finally, one thing, because the people were complaining and nobody knew where to go. So we said, okay, let's try this avenue, and then it worked, and then people see that. So we're really excited, and I think this has not only motivated us, but the wider civil society community, where we're also trying to see how best we can reorganize and organize more effectively to ensure that we work in a way that will ensure that we will not duplicate efforts, but we will also continue to ensure that our role of linking government and society continue, because that's our work. We are not appointed, we are not elected, and I think this also create a very positive image for civil society, that we are not here just to complain or to do clicktivism, like they keep saying on social media, collecting and then shouting, but we are taking the action on the ground.
The police often accused civil society association. He said, I quote PRO, he said, activism cannot bring crime down.
I mean,
he said, he said, people like you will always make everything into activism. Even if they are doing their job, you put activism in there.
I saw that statement, but I said, well, you don't understand what activism is. Activism is about influence. How do we influence? If the police should see activists as part of them, because what the police is doing is also activism. Fighting crime is ensuring that you do that. So activism doesn't mean like you have to be only in civil society. The judiciary, interpreting the laws, ensuring that they're expanding.
What they don't understand is if people they believe to be criminals are taken away, and people like you and human rights stand up and say, no, you should release them, no, you shouldn't.
I mean, the issue is like, what is expected? You see, when the police say they're going to do zero crime, everybody supported the police for that, because people accept and figured that crime is there. But still, as much as they're going to do their job, they have to do it according to the law. Everybody has to do their job according to the law. It cannot be outside, because after you push the blame to activists. Our job is to ensure that we hold accountable. Likewise, if that statement is thinking like they're holding us accountable,
they believe that.
Of course,
they believe activists embolden
I mean, we cannot
troublemakers.
Why are we supporting this?
Not just criminals and thieves, but troublemakers, like people who will. I criticize.
They need to understand us more, that we will be more of partners rather than foes. So I think, we just need to work together for this country, and that's the way forward.
I brought that phrase because the police said activism cannot bring down crime. All right, let's move on to the big story in this house today. Is the 3 years Jotna. The much talk about 3 years Jotna case is now dead and buried. I hope the government has extended an olive branch to you to forget everything, and in the spirit of reconciliation, the cases have been withdrawn, so you no longer have anything to answer as far as those charges are concerned. And one of you, Haji Suwaneh, belong to them. How did you react when the cases were dropped? I mean, I can tell you many people in the Gambia and abroad said that was a very good decision in the spirit of reconciliation. How do you react?
Thank you, Lamin. It is at the right decision at the wrong time, because we are accused of something that they know that they cannot prove themselves in the court of law. And we remain innocent since the inception up to the date we were discharged from the court. So it was upon them to prove their case that we are definitely guilty of what they said. So since inception, they know that they don't have any case, but it is their powers to do what they have done. So it is the right thing at the wrong time, Lamin.
But one would have thought that now that an olive branch has been extended to you, at least now your rhetorics or, I mean, your views on the matter would really mellow down a bit. You know, but you're still defiant, thinking that you have not done anything wrong, and you know, it's the state that couldn't prove their case. That's why they withdrew it. They said no, they withdrew it because they want us to reconcile now. It is not time now for you people now to, you know, forget about this thing now and stop, I mean, trying to show that it was the government who was wrong in the first place.
Thank you. But at the first place, there was no war in the Gambia. There was a process of holding the government accountable, or holding President Barrow accountable based on promises he gave to us in 2016 elections. So those promises, he reneged on them without even going back to the people who voted him out, voted him in that office based on agreements that or promises he gave to us. So he was elected based on 3 years a transition agreement. So that agreement, he wanted to renege on it in a way whereby we feel that that's not right for him to do that. So we hold him accountable. So I don't think there's any way one can say we are reconciling. On what? We are not reconciling anything, because there was, in the first place, there was no war. There was a process of accountability to hold the government accountable, or to hold President Barrow accountable, or the entire coalition members to hold him accountable.
Yeah, but many people praise the government's decision to do that, because we're going into elections. The government is interested in making sure that no party feel that you've been subject, you know, and for political reasons, one thing or the other. I mean, people believe that it's a political case. Government is no longer interested in pursuing it. I mean, that's quite right. I mean, everybody, that's commendable.
Whether they are interested in pursuing it or not interested in, what I'm talking about is, for us, we have not done anything illegal.
You know,
we applied for a permit.
Yes.
Which each and every citizen, if you want to do it in this Gambia, protest in this Gambia.
We don't need to go back to the history. You know, things like this are bound to happen between members of the opposition and the government, etc. But now that the government feel, like everybody felt, this is a political case. In most democracies, you know, cases like this who are political in nature, people will always, like civil society organizations such as Sait Matty and others, will say to government, you know what, don't pursue political cases, you know, just put them aside in the interest of reconciliation, and of course, you know, going into the election. So you can't discount the fact that this move is very commendable and is the right thing on the side of the government.
I say it's the right thing, but at the wrong time, Lamin. You shouldn't have been arrested since inception. So yes. I'm not going to comment government on this, because they have to prove their case. If they cannot prove their case, the only thing they can do it is, my friend, to surrender. And they have done that. They have surrendered because they have no case against us. No. So anyway, for us, we are not going to commend them on what we believe it is the right thing since inception they should have done. So if they wait until 1 year, 6 months to come and do that is something that is right since inception, I'm not going to commend them, because my time was wasted, my resources were wasted. So the whole thing is my right was infringed from me.
Now, with this how to call it, this, well, the withdrawal of the cases and the government's extension of the olive branch for both sides to bear this now, where does this leave your disbelief and theory of 3 years Jotna? Isn't it not time now for you to forget about this 3 years? After all, 3 years is gone now. Why are you wasting your time?
Let me make this thing clear to you. 3 years has already elapsed.
Yeah,
so I don't think one will waste. Government knows that we are not going to waste.
So there's no need to go back to this topic, especially now that the president and government has dropped it.
The state knew exactly that they have succeeded in what they want. Because to put the 3 years, whole issue of 3 years silence.
Yeah. So
that is the whole issue of arresting
okay,
us.
so now they are satisfied. If going by your theory, they are satisfied that they have achieved what they want.
They have succeeded.
They have succeeded in what they wanted. So now they felt the need not to continue, subjecting you people
you call that reconciliation after succeeding what you want to achieve? You achieve it already.
Okay,
but
if they had got what they wanted and they continue to prosecute you, we would say they are vindictive. Since they've got what they want, why are they vindictive, pursuing you more? They saw the sense now that there's no sense in pursuing this thing. 3 years have gone. Now the president is busy with 2021. He doesn't have any more worries about you people anymore.
After languishing at mile 2 for 1 year, they knew that exactly the 3 years issue has now put my friend under the carpets now. We are all working towards the 2021. But if you say reconciliation here, that's what I cannot understand, because we have nothing against them to reconcile in these middle of elections. Or for us, what we want is to continue holding them accountable based on other important things rather than to go back to the 3 years issue. Okay. They knew that since inception. So
now the 3 years is dead. Now
the 3 years Jotna issue has gone. For me, I'm not going to waste my time.
You know what I didn't hear on the press release has the ban been lifted? Because we in the press never respected that ban, because we said it was unlawful.
No, so it was unlawful.
So they didn't say whether the ban is lifted. Said, did you hear that?
Yeah. I did not see that part.
So they agreed the ban was totally.
I think yes. I think the sense. Government come to their senses, because everybody agree, whether you agree with 3 years Jotna or you disagree with them. Everybody know that they have their right to express their grievances, and that was done. But if it's at some point the way it was going, people felt it was more political and all those things. And now that they've come to their senses, of course, people are happy to a large extent that that things will at least calm down. But of course, this doesn't mean that if their grievances are still alive and they have other issues to pursue, is their country, is their place, whether it's good or bad, they're also part of that. So for me, I think this has to be there. But I think government also need to always be the bigger picture in anything. They have they're there. They're the ones with the power. They're given the responsibility to take care of the society. So they need to not be too myopic or to just look at things from a political lens, or or something else. They need to see the bigger picture always. Government must always be there for everybody, and I think that's what they need to do. But of course, they feel like the fact that their time have been wasted and all those things. Government need to learn from those things, that you cannot just at some point wasting people time or people feeling that you waste their time and then just come and say, okay, now it's over from our own side. That would not make it to be over from the other side. They must still have to, or if they feel still that they're not being fairly treated, they will still have to say those things. And at least what people need to do is to accept that. But of course, moving forward, at the end of the day, after Jammeh. So moving forward, I think we need to also start thinking, especially now that we are moving towards election. If the country burns down, it's not only 3 years Jotna or is the government. All of us would be in trouble. And I think why people are saying this is because of we feeling the tension that is already in the country, the polarization. All these things are emanating from ethnic, religion, wherever you touch in this country, people have something to say. So I think there is a need to calm down and
And this process of withdrawing this case can play a key role.
It has contributed. It has contributed to a certain extent, and of course, it depends also on their part how they're gonna see it and how they want to move forward.
And most people felt at the beginning because this was the most organized, opinion group protest that the government had to face. At the first, many people believe the government responded very well by just organizing a counter demonstration.
Yeah.
But then when they involve police breaking up, that's where the problem is. The government was blamed for deviating from a proper way. If you know it's political, you organized a counter political district, and that's what the matter ends. They organize one, you organize one, and the police will say, look, you both have two protests, now I'm finished with this matter.
You took people to a place where nobody is. There are no properties, nothing. You just say, okay, people were willing to go all the way there.
All there, yes.
That's why I say government needs to be more responsible. We need to tell them, they need to be more responsible. People have the right to to express their grievances,
Yeah.
and however they want, as long as it is within the law, and then you're already giving them permit. You need to stick to that.
Yeah,
Because the government and the police and all those things. That's why I kept saying that we need to change the laws, because even the dispersal, the statement that the police were reading, if you go back to the 1960, 1950 law, you'll find it there.
Yes.
It's like Her Majesty, whatever. You know, those things need to be
colonial
changed.
laws.
Colonial laws. So I think those things need to be addressed.
Yes, Haji. So going forward now, the 3 years Jotna is gone and dead and buried, and the government wants you to completely forget and reconcile. Going forward now, what has been your experience since when the movement started, and now that it is we hopefully amicably resolved? What has been your experience and lesson?
Yeah, Lamin, the lessons I learned, or we learned together there, it is that Gambian culture, we need to change ourselves. Attitudinal change is needed in the Gambia. That is including ourselves, the government or the citizens themselves, because we are the government. So we need to work very hard towards our attitudes. We need to change our attitude and know that holding government accountable does not mean that it is necessarily means fitna, as many people are perceiving it. Because if you see that our protest day that day, many people were with this sense that definitely these people are fitna people, are people who are going with violence. So that make the job very much difficult for us. And then we are standing for things that we are in public.
But they said that came from some of the rhetorics. You were saying, we will go to State House, we will bring down the president, we will move him by force physically from there.
In an environment of freedom of speech.
The government was scared, and naturally they have to react to
that was
such
their
rhetorics.
That was there since inception, Lamin. The 3 years Jotna movement, since coming in power, you cannot have everybody on the same opinion. You cannot control people's speech. But the problem is the leadership. You should know who are these leaders or those leaders. What are their actions and then their behaviors. The first protest we have done, it was successful. Everybody commended us. We know that it went successful. So the same words that was said in that protest are the same words that has been repeated in this one also. People were saying that we are going to State House, and it was even more worrying because we saw people reading letters in the name of 3 years Jotna, making press releases that we are going to burn tires and all that. You've seen that.
Just kind of rhetoric that actually moved the government to be.
And that was the first protest, which went successfully. There was no tires burned, there was no demolition of any structure, there was no forcefully going to Banjul. Have you seen it? No. And since we met with the security, including the economic forces, and then everybody commended us because they leave things in our own hands to control and manage our crowds. Because in a crowd management, security forces are seen most of us as enemies, but we the organizers, we are friends to those people who participated there, who are trying to show their grievances against the government. So if they don't want to do the right thing, if I approach them, I will tell them, look, we apply the permit based on this and that and that. So you cannot do this and that and that. So they leave things in our own hands in the first protest, which for them they promise us that definitely, even the second protest, the economic commander there says that this is the way protests are organized, this is the way crowds are managed. Her security forces, less with the organizers, anything that you see is going not in line with your agreements or with the permit, less with the organizers, and then talk to them, tell them this is going wrong or this is going right. We will try to organize ourselves. But that was not the case on the 26th of January 2020. That shows that government, they have their plans to do what they have done, but it is not what was perceived as rhetoric words and then or words that are definitely chaotic, or words that are definitely.
You believe the government said, look, we have to put a brutal end to this.
Of course, that was
by reintroducing Jammeh dictatorial.
That was the intentional plan. Because look, Sait Matty has said it here. Professor has said it here. The first protest, they said we are going to the bush. Was indeed the case. We went to a sitting corner towards Denton Bridge. Whose house was there? Nobody's house. This time around, when we apply a permit for the same position, they said, no, we are not going for that position anymore. They are going to throw us in Bakau. Which I said, no. You guys said...
They don't want passers by on the Banjul highway to even see or know about.
No, in Bakau there are properties. There are properties of people, which they were running away on the first place. And it went successful. We said we don't care where we are going to do our protest. But what we care is our message. Wherever we have done it, our message will reach where we want it to reach. Because we don't want to go and remove Barrow there. We only want to go and remind him what you have said with citizens at the first place. So why are you doing this today? We wrote him a petition. So that petition, if you don't reply to it for a certain period, we will come back again and ask you. this is the simple intention of our protest. But they have their own plans, which the late IGP, may his soul rest in perfect peace, he has informed us since earlier that we will be convicted if we go up. They can give us permit, but they will convict us. So what, my friend, what that entails is that...
The government always wanted your organization's activities stopped.
To stop.
What you believe.
Yes. So now what we are saying since then, I think Gambians have seen it. So we talked about the constitution, that if Barrow is allowed to pass these 3 years, he is going to put his hand into this constitutional review commission if it doesn't go well with his intended mandate. And that has happened. And the security sector reform also will collapse because Barrow will need everybody's vote, including even criminals, so including perpetrators. So he will not be ready to apply the law on anybody because he is now open to future elections, which he said he's not going to participate. So, and then we said this again.
Welcome back to politics.
Yes. And then the reconciliation process will be very much difficult because people were wounded and the truth must be established, which the TRRC is doing. Each and every one of us should commend it. But we are seeing again opposite. Some people are going against the TRRC in a very critical manner. So why that is happening is because the president needs everybody. Because they know that the president is not serious about the TRC. Will not even take the recommendation of the TRC seriously. I said it here.
The president's government gave commitment that they're going to implement it. In fact, the National Human Rights Commission is already...
We've seen the Jammeh Commission. We've seen the Jammeh Commission. The Jammeh Commission, the white paper, the recommendation of the commission.
We have to wait until we see whether...
Yeah, but we take sample of the Jammeh Commission. The recommendation of the Jammeh Commission, you have seen it all. So the recommendations were, my friend, selectively taken.
All right, just before, finally, of course, just before you gentlemen walk in there, I had the spokesman of the National People's Party, the NPP. Now that the executive is formed, I was taking him on why the deputy chairmanship was not filled. Has it been reserved for some member of the APRC, as their critics said, etc. Now that the National People's Party formed an executive and the president has said that they prefer death, the NPP prefer death to shame. This has generated a lot of controversy. He said the president's words were taken out of context. He didn't mean this thing. I put to him what the people think, that the people in his place shouldn't mention even the word death in any context or form. What do you make of it finally? That the NPP now full-fledged is support? Well, you are, of course, in opposition to UDP. What do you make of it?
Anyway, for me, I felt it is very disappointed. A president of the republic to come out publicly to like define elections in his own way, that he would rather prefer death to shame. I think it is unfortunate for a president of a republic to come out and say, for any data in that matter, Barrow or me or you, any public figure, I think elections we should all advocate for peace. And we should even encourage people to go in for peace, but not to encourage people to go and choose death over shame. Because at the first place, I have not seen anything that's supposed to make somebody sigh if he lose elections. Election, like, is a product. And then I could be a businessman, and then I have my product. That product, I wanted to sell it to customers. If I table my product to you, if you don't buy it, then I don't need to say. I need to know why you didn't buy it. Then I'll go back and improve on my product. But why will I choose debt over that refusal of buying my product? It's because I have an intention. So Barrow's intention in this, for me, I think he's not ready for free, transparent and fair elections. The whole of that statement at State House, that he's going to do anything possible to, my friend, interfere in the elections so that he's going in the direction that he wanted.
He didn't say he will interfere. He said they will do everything as far as the election is concerned
that include
to ensure that they win.
That include interference, Lamin. That includes interference. Because the word dead to shame.
It didn't say they are going to. They said they will do everything possible.
I said, for me.
And they prefer death to shame.
That everything possible means that interference. And let him not try it. And in fact, Gambians are not ready for any death in this issue. If you could take Jammeh out there simply, and then he left the country, I don't think anybody will create chaos in elections.
That's the context that critics took Barrow and his people to the corner. Said, you've been belonging to no political party. I mean, many people believe that just as everybody condemned Jammeh for just merely, and what Jammeh actually did was merely said, I did not agree. He didn't say, anybody who want to push me here will die.
Will die.
Or I will take death or shame. He didn't say that. He just said, I didn't agree with the results. Now, if you hear Barrow saying that I will choose death over shame, you know, naturally your mind goes back to
what Jammeh said.
Jammeh said. And the last thing that Barrow should do is to follow, even by accident, any utterances that Jammeh made.
Definitely.
I mean, Lamin, in my statement, I talked about responsibility.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're elected, President Barrow should realize one thing, that he's not the president for NPP.
Yeah,
he's the president of all Gambians.
Exactly.
And there are more people that did not vote for him than people that voted for him.
Yes, we just talk about
and then he should understand that this country is so polarized that people are even afraid to sleep in their own houses because of the security situation.
Yeah.
People expect him to go out, to come out, to talk to the people, to tell them what they want to hear, not what he wants to tell us. I think this statement is unfortunate. It came at a very wrong time, from a very wrong mouth. We did not expect that to come from him. And for me personally, I condemn it in the strongest term. I don't know whether it was misconstrued or misconstrued or whatever.
Actually, his exact words. I mean, that's what I'm telling you. I listened to them.
I see a counter saying that people misconstrued.
Yes, we had people trying. Even Queen, who was here, was trying to say that the context he meant was, okay, we have seen in our folklores, we said that,
I mean, this was not folklore. We are talking about elections.
But,
we know.
But what I can assure everybody, I've listened to the tape, and even this was admitted even by people who are close to NPP, and I have the tape. He said exactly, we in NPP prefer death to shame. He said that. There's no dispute about that. That's on the record. So what do you think of that is what they are.
That's why I'm saying.
But to say that he didn't say these words, that's wrong. He said it exactly.
Yeah, that's why I saw people trying to. You see.
So the interpretation.
In this country now, like we are sitting here, we are talking, we are speaking our minds. People will speak their mind wherever they are, and nobody can take that away from us.
Nobody can stop them. Yeah, that's right.
And let them know that. So the way you speak.
So the problem is, why say it in the first place?
Exactly. And then you know that elections are contested. Elections are, we've seen post-electoral violence. People do not go to war over.
No, they follow statements by their leaders.
Follow statement by their leaders, and then they do that. And what we expect from President Barrow is to be the leader of this country.
Exactly.
To lead this country.
Exactly.
To unite this country. To ensure that the country continues. To ensure that the next generation of Gambians are happy and proud of this country, to ensure that the problems of young people are addressed, to ensure that people live in safety and in dignity, and that elections will never divide this country. Already he is starting to divide this country along those lines. And these things cannot be tolerated at any level. We must condemn that.
Absolutely.
Totally. For me, this is my position, and I think, we need to learn from this and stop making statements that are irrelevant
that will incense the people, or heighten tension.
For me, the most unfortunate thing about it is
for
the Minister of Information to try to come in defense of something he knew exactly. Everybody knows this is what the president said. These were the same people who were fighting that Jammeh was like this and like that. If you are surrounding a leader, we should try, whether you are opposition or pro-government, we should all try to work in the best interest of a country.
Well, there are in political language, there are gaffes, what we call, there are statements that are not, accidentally come from public officials, and when they are criticized, they use that to reform.
Exactly.
Let's hope that President Barrow, who is in fact never used to saying anything, irritating. We learn from these kind of things and moderate his language whenever he takes to the rostrum again, whether it is for party or for state functions. I think that's important.
Yeah, but it's important. But President Barrow should start to learn that if you don't something, nobody's perfect. No human being is perfect, including leaders.
Yeah.
So things like this, if you have done it in a wrong time. Not even it does not even specific time for a president to even utter this kind of statements. But if you have done it, people criticize you as a leader. Take a bold decision. Come to them, apologize and withdraw what you have said, because this is a critical point this year, and an election year. It's a year everybody is supposed to be vigilant and focused. Anything that can bring chaos, my friend, we should all be careful of what we should say. So, for example, 2029 election, if anything happened there,
good point.
We will go back.
Okay, President Barrow, if you're watching, next time, don't mention debt. Don't bring any question of debt. This is just a mere election. So until next week, I hope when we will hear a rather more moderate language from the opposition or the NPP, we hope to wish you a very successful Korite, because I know before we are back here Saturday, it will definitely be Korite. we wish you a very good quality. And this Lamin on behalf of my guest, Lamin Queen Jammeh of NPP, Haji Suwaneh of the, well, I hope now, dead 3 years Jotna movement, and Sait Matty Jaw, lecturer at the University of the Gambia, and one of the members of those civic society organizations that took the matter of the $54 million to court and successfully have the Supreme Court rule against it. Thank you very much for joining us. We'll be back next week, inshallah. Until then, goodbye.
In communication, connectivity is everything. We ensure that the links never sleep. Quantities and qualities, all in our data service, providing efficient, reliable voice and data service. We believe if you're not up to speed, then you're going backwards. Communications have to flow as fast as the speed of light. Whatever business you're in, having someone who understands your needs is critical. That is why we just don't offer you technology, we offer you solutions. Enjoy Gamcel's internet broadband anytime, anywhere. Your national operator, Gamcel, Yaibaram.
For all your pastry, bakery and quality food, CK Restaurant is the only place to be. We do catering for birthdays, weddings and all related services. We have all kinds of local foods, American, European and even beyond. Come and have a taste of our local juice, ebe and other services. At CK Restaurant, customer satisfaction is our priority.
We live in a day and age where technology is creating a world without borders, filled with unlimited potential to improve the lives of the people around us. Innovarex Global Health ushers in a new way of leveling the playing field with increased access to quality healthcare services delivered at your doorstep. Our qualified professionals are equipped with state-of-the-art point-of-care testing technology to conduct tests such as kidney function, liver function, electrolyte tests, body composition, hemoglobin, A1C, and many more services with the highest efficiency in delivering results. The addition to our flagship Wellness on Wheels, more fondly known as WOW Delivery Service, brings the entire clinical experience full circle. IGH has remained committed to creating the future of healthcare delivery Gone are the days of sending loved ones outside the country for basic medical services. Innovarex Global Health offers a new peace of mind and takes pride in delivering the quality of care we all deserve.